Alrighty, welcome into the Gary Ayd Show here on the Cave, cavetalkradio.com, the Cave Talk Radio app. Great to have you aboard, Gary Ayd, Rich Anselmo, and you can check us out on Facebook and YouTube Live. We're there right now. So a lot to get to today, a lot of different things to discuss. Obviously, we are continuing to monitor, as is everyone else, the Damar Hamlin situation. But no real news on that as of yet. Last update of him having better oxygen levels still remains to be the last update as far as I'm aware. So we'll keep an eye on that. As I kind of predicted, Rich, there's already been some talk from some notable names about the viability of football. Harry Carson said he wouldn't let his grandson play football. Well, first of all, with all due respect, Harry Carson, that won't be your choice. That'll be the kid's parents' choice. But there's that.
Okay, yeah.
Secondly, this is what I didn't want to happen. This is what I was cautioning about. When tragedy and freak accidents occur, we should not use those rare by definition occurrences as an indictment on the validity of an activity. Because the truth is, how many non-public jobs are as or more dangerous than playing in the NFL that people are going to do forever? Whether it's deep sea fishing, skyscraper window cleaners. There's a million of these jobs. Anyone that works in any kind of mine. There's a million of these jobs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Did you ever see the short film Shake Hands with Danger?
No. Sounds interesting.
It's about all the different mishaps that could happen in a workplace with equipment and everything. And,
yeah.
And yeah, they do happen all the time.
All the time. I've seen this myself. There was a guy I used to work with. I used to work as a part-time dock worker at a truck company, and off and on for a few years. And I remember when you have a dock, you have a dock plate that connects to the back of a trailer that you're loading with the forklift, right? So you run over that dock plate each time you go in and out of the trailer with your forklift. Well, one of the things you always were, was in the back of your mind was, what if the truck driver doesn't realize that there's someone in the truck and pulls away from the dock at the exact seconds that you're driving over that dock plate, or if you're in the trailer with your forklift. And that used to happen.
Wow.
And that's a pretty scary thing. And
yeah.
Being a dock worker is not super high on the list of dangerous occupations, but it certainly has some dangers. That's one of the biggest ones. And, people would die that way, because the dock plate would fall down because the truck would pull out, and then they would fall down in their forklift, and depending how it fell, they could fall in the forklift, which weighs however many thousands of pounds, would fall on top of them. And that would kill people. So my point for bringing that up is that you're going to still need dock workers. You're still going to have truck drivers. At some point, the show has to go on. At some point, we just have to accept life isn't safe. We don't live in a bubble. You can't live that way. And crap happens. Now, Is football a little more dangerous than some other things you could do? Yeah. But it also pays a whole lot better. Let's accept the good with the bad. Let's accept the reality of the situation. This was an unfortunate, crazy, tragic, really rare occurrence, right? Let's not paint football as a activity that should be not partaken in because of this. This is not something you should be thinking about a lot as a parent. In the 100-year history of the NFL, you could name on one hand and have fingers left over how many times something similar to this has happened. And the play that this happened on is a everyday type of play. There was nothing to legislate. Nothing to legislate. It wasn't a dirty play. It wasn't a helmet to helmet. It was nothing. There's nothing to legislate about the play or the situation. It's just a tragic.
Not at all. It was
Accident.
just what you said. It was a tragic accident. And we shouldn't forget that. We should continue to keep Damar Hamlin in our prayers,
Yep.
as well as T. Higgins, who's having a very, very rough time with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at some point, yeah, you do have to, quote, get back to work.
Yeah.
I'm not totally unsympathetic to the player situations. I get it. But I wish Damar Hamlin was okay to ask, but I'm sure he would want you to play.
Yep. Yep. Well, of course he would. I mean, look.
And it might be the best thing to take your mind off, even for a few hours, of everything.
Yes.
And that goes for the Bills and the Bengals.
Yeah. At some point, the show must go on. I mean, look, it was prudent not to continue that game in the wake of that at the moment, but this was one of the.
Well, the NFL wanted to continue it.
And that would have been okay with me too. We discussed
Well,
that.
It wouldn't have been okay with me.
Yeah, that
and the coaches both said no.
Yeah,
not
and that's fine. But
unfortunately, someone has a conscience. But
one of the reasons
I should know they don't.
Yeah, well, you're running a business. It's not your job to have a conscience. But
yes, it is.
I
You're
don't
a human
think so.
being. It's your job to have a conscience.
I mean, because the problem is, and this is what I was concerned about with stopping the game, not playing the game, is now we're talking about not playing it ever. We're talking about them not wanting to play. The Bengals talking about not wanting to play their game week 18 this week. With these things, when you give an inch, people want a mile. And had you not ever stopped, we wouldn't be talking about this today. So, it was prudent to do what they did. I don't really disagree with it.
Justify that as a reason.
But it doesn't surprise me in the least that these guys want to now not play week 18. And that's the slippery slope that I don't like. If I'm running the ship, I'm concerned about, because that's just how humans are. And
I'm not going to blame the players.
I mean, for not wanting to play this week, I will. For not wanting to finish that game, I don't blame them. I understand.
No,
but for not wanting to play week 18, no, it's time to get back to work. It's time to get back to the business at hand, because the bottom line is, whether you like it or not, your job, even though it's a game, is responsible for the livelihood and economic vitality of a whole crap ton of other people's lives.
Yes.
Bartenders, wait staff, drivers, game staff, you name it. Everything. Yeah. I mean, thousands and thousands of jobs. So your unwillingness to move forward, it directly impacts the livelihood of people who make a whole lot less money than you. There's a responsibility that comes along with these type of jobs that doesn't come along with being a plumber. It just is. And that's part of the reason they make the money they make, is because it has ripple effects throughout the economy that other jobs don't have. It creates wealth and it creates economic activity that other jobs don't create. And so at a certain point, not playing is taking money out of other people's pockets who don't have it to be taken out of. So there's that element of it too. And hearing Harry Carson go on and talk about that, hearing Joe Burrow talk about maybe not wanting to play week 18, no, you had your chance to kind of wrap your mind around this. I understand it's a big deal, but you have to get back to work. You just have to. It's what are you going to do? I mean, and like I said a couple days ago, no matter what you do, play, don't play, the outcome of whatever's going to end up happening with Damar Hamlin is not going to be affected by that. Nothing you can do to influence that, other than to keep, like you said before, keep him in prayers. That's it. That's all you can do.
Right.
So you may as well play.
I agree with you, but I don't agree on one point. I agree that they should play, but I agree for a more human reason, that it might be the best thing for them, individually and collectively, to play this game and take their mind off of everything for a few hours. I don't agree with it's the NFL and the show must go on. I couldn't give a damn. But for them, for their well-being, I think they should play.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's fine. And you know what? The hell with it then. If they don't want to play, just say, okay, the Bills season and the Bengals season is over. Fine. We're gonna continue on with the season without you. You both don't make the playoffs. There. Bum. Bye. Like move yeah, that let's do that. I mean, if that's where this is gonna go. Because at some point, like that game that wasn't played, like we've been talking about, is a fly in the ointment of the entire structure of the playoffs as it is. So even if you work around that logistically, which they will in some way, shape, or form, I mean, if they stop playing week 18, now it makes it even worse. Like, if you're gonna do that, you should just forfeit the rest of your season at that point. Like this would be a lot easier to handle if it was week 7 and 8. This is the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's just at some point there's operational necessities that you simply can't work around. I mean, it's not as simple as, well, let's just back it up a couple of weeks because, well, all of these broadcasts, the infrastructure of the networks and all the different platforms that carry these games, they're all so far scheduled out, that you can't just like easily back it up because they got other things going on. Like it's
right.
It's not that simple. It's not like this is in a vacuum. So I think that we definitely have to see week 18 played by these teams. And whatever they do with this game, they're gonna have to figure something out. But that's really not my concern. My concern is that this continues to be punted down the road and saying we're not ready, we're not ready, we're not ready. Well, I at some point that doesn't work anymore because the show must go on. Everything has to go back to, you have to get back to life. I mean, that's just the way it is. That goes for football players. That goes for someone who works as an accountant after their parent passes away. That goes for someone whose kid was in a car accident and died in a car accident. You know what? Their mortgage is going to come the next month. They have to, as much as that sucks, you have to get on with life. That's just how life works. It doesn't stop, no matter what the tragedy.
And it's difficult for some people, more difficult than others.
I'm not saying it's not, but
and we've both experienced it in recent years.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like this is a fact of life. No matter your vocation or lot in life, there's going to be times in your life where something awful is going to happen. You're going to feel like I don't want to do anything, but you know what? You're going to have to get back to doing what you normally do because the normal bills, the normal responsibilities, the normal necessities of life don't take a break just because you want to. It just doesn't work that way. It'd be cool if it did, but that's not how life works. So anyway,
I think they should play week 18 as well.
Yeah, they have to.
I think for their own mental well-being as much as anything.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons to play. I mean, that's definitely one of them. And like I said before, the ripple effect of the different people affected by those games not happening economically shouldn't go unspoken. There's a lot of reasons. But
now, if the worst happens in the next 2 days, and I pray it doesn't, all bets are off.
Yeah, I don't even think that. Like, I think you have to play these. I think you have to play at this point. Like, I mean, look, I remember in the wake of 9/11, what were they off a day or two before they resumed baseball play? Like they play on like the 13th or the 14th or something when Piazza hit that memorable home run.
They played on that Monday.
Yeah, so
they took a few days off.
2 or 3 days.
3 days off. Yeah.
And that was cathartic to the country.
It was.
So to your point, it could be cathartic to those impacted by this to be playing.
And I think it would be because it would remove it from their minds for a while.
Yeah. Yep. And I think,
like I said, if something tragic happens on Saturday, it's going to be tough.
Well, I think that was just what I was going to say. I think to your point, if something terrible, like if Hamlin ended up passing away from his injuries, I think it would almost be more important to play from the cathartic mental health standpoint. I think it would be almost more important to play then. I mean, remember Brett Favre had the best game of his career the day after his dad died.
After his father died, yeah.
Sometimes it works out that way. And you can't work out that way if you say you can't win if you're not in the game. So,
Well, in this case, I hope that doesn't
well,
happen.
obviously, of course, but
But
it's just a I don't know. For me, when I deal with something like this, I want to get back to normal as quickly as possible. To, like you said, keep my mind off of things and, re-engage in normality and routine. And so anyway, all right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We got a lot more to get to. We have a lot of NBA. We got the question of the day, of course.
no Thursday night game to predict tonight.
No, that's right. There's no Thursday night football. So,
but we do have 2 on Saturday.
yes, and we do have our NFL playoff scenarios. Yep. So we have that to get to as well. We'll do the question of the day, then we'll get into the playoff scenarios after that. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call. Because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at crazy low prices. They have access to great prices and discounts at over 500 different airlines. Plus 300,000 hotels and rental car companies. Their prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find the best price for you. Call SmartFares today and get ready to see the world with a fat wallet.
800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. That's 800-370-2460.
Come on, you watch the news. Be prepared to pay more taxes. Then if you owe back taxes or haven't filed in a few years, get ready. The IRS, the largest collection agency in the world, will be coming after you with the power to collect taxes by any means they want to. Hey, they can freeze your bank account, your passport, even padlock your business. Oh, good times. Look, if the IRS claims you owe them $5,000 or more in back taxes and they're coming after you, don't panic. Call my friends at Get a Tax Lawyer first. Their job is to negotiate with the IRS and save you money. They're experts at it. That's all they do, and you can trust them. In some cases, they have reduced a $50,000 tax bill to less than $1,000. If you owe the IRS $5,000 or more in back taxes, call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. That's 800-649-8617.
An artist wants to change the way we envision the stadiums of the future. I am KO, back in 1 minute with your sports question of the day.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't, and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-953-0866. That's 800-953-0866.
Imagine sitting next to 1 million screaming fans. For some, it would be a dream come true, but for others, it's the stuff of nightmares. American artist Paul Pfeiffer recently presented a piece of concept art illustrating the size and scope of what it would take to build a 1 million seat stadium. But not very many fans were taken with the prospect. Many posted comments about the, quote, fresh hell that it would be to share bathrooms with 1 million other fans. Question, which team do you think would have a big enough draw to fill a 1 million seat stadium? Real Madrid, the Lakers, Man U, or the Yankees?
I was gonna say the Cowboys.
I was going to say the Cowboys, too.
Yeah. I could see maybe the Yankees too, but I definitely think the Cowboys. Oh, but that's funny. 1 million people sharing a bathroom.
I would never,
No.
ever consider being in attendance
No,
with over 900,000 more people.
no way.
Absolutely not.
No,
I hate leaving an arena of 18,000.
Well, that's what I
after a
was
game.
gonna say. The bathroom situation would be the least of my concerns. I mean, can you imagine getting in and out of there? Like, what type of hell that would be? That would take you 3 days. I mean, like, yeah, it's bad enough when it's 20,000 people. Like,
Yeah.
multiply that by what is that? That's 10 times is 200. That's like 40 times, something like that. Like, no,
Yeah.
absolutely not. No chance in hell.
No, there is no. First of all, what would your sight lines be?
What would your what?
Your sight lines be at a stadium of
Oh,
a million people? What
yeah.
if you're sitting in the upper deck of this place? The game's a rumor as it is. And why would I do that and not be able to see the game? And I hate the scoreboard.
I could do that on television.
I could save money and stay home
Yeah,
and not
exactly.
pay $45 to park.
Right. And that's the
Park
other
in my
thing.
own yard for free.
You would need a GPS or MapQuest directions to get to your car in the parking lot for a million people. How far away, like,
Yeah.
would your cars be? I mean, like, think about the size of the parking lot you would need for something like that. Like, you would need, like, literally, like,
Multiple lots.
Yeah,
of
like
maybe 10, 12 high.
oh my God.
It's ridiculous. No one. I can see it happening with Real Madrid too, to be honest. But
Yeah.
no one should
There's
ever
a,
get this idea.
there's a reason that it was an artist that thought this up, but not an architect. Because an artist lives in the clouds and in fantasy land by definition. An architect deals in real life. So yes,
And any architect would tell you can't build something to hold 1 million people
that's right.
safely
Right.
and practically.
Right. That's an.
I mean, I think it's amazing how many groups are fighting for the Tampa Bay Rays stadium in St. Petersburg. I don't know if you saw that in.
No.
I don't know if you saw that in Front Office Sports.
Nope.
They have like 5 different bids out for this thing. The Rays are working with a development company, and they proposed a 7 million square foot development that would have like 5,700 multifamily units, 600 senior residences, office and retail space, a music venue, and a hotel.
What? A music venue?
Yeah, the other 4 partners are sponsoring similar things. One has 2 hotels and a transit hub, urban farms.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
you're building a stadium here for a team that very few people go to see.
My goodness. Can you imagine?
Another group proposed 3,800 affordable housing units, 2 acres of self-storage
In a stadium?
in the stadium grounds, a convention center hotel, and a mixed-use technology center.
I mean, you got to admire the creativity of these ideas. And some of them don't sound crazy. I actually don't think the mixed-use technology center inside of a stadium grounds sounds all that nuts. I actually think that sounds, but like a music venue, I guess I could see that. Like some of these are cool. Some of them are just, I would, the housing units, affordable housing at that, inside of a
one has 5,200 housing units.
that sounds like an oxymoron. Affordable and stadium grounds,
yeah.
they don't go together.
Office and retail space, 2 hotels, a transit hub.
The transit hub would actually be great.
Transit hub would be cool.
Yeah.
Basically, if you wanted to come here and go, if you came here and wanted to go to a Sabres game, you could take the train all the way out to a nice sized parking lot.
Yep.
Where you can park. You could take the subway.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a transit hub, but there's a place trains go by every 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's true. That's an interesting this is an interesting question, I have to say.
But yeah, the 1 million, no.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that. I mean, I don't like people that much, and that's a lot of friggin' people.
Same here.
That's a lot of people. I mean, think about like what 100,000 looks like. Like, what's the world record for an attendance at an event? Like, that's What would that even be? Let's see if we can Google search that real quick. I'm gonna guess it's something like 1,000 or something. World record for event attendance.
It might be an auto race.
Or I was thinking maybe Woodstock.
Well, that's 500,000 people.
Yeah. So yeah, think about that. Double Woodstock.
That was 500,000 people, and the grounds were terrible.
Right.
And the shortages of water, and I mean, it was only a few people died at Woodstock. It could have been disastrous.
Yeah, that's. I mean, yeah, and that was 500,000.
Yeah.
Double that inside a stadium. No.
Yeah. Can you imagine 1,000,000?
No, I mean, because Woodstock was crazy. And like, there's a reason they only did that once. Same thing with like
Right.
going to the moon. It's like, yeah, that was kind of nuts. Yeah, let's not do that again.
I'm still upset about how much money they want to spend on this now with Mars. It's like, come on. At what
Yeah.
point
Yes.
do you realize you're not going to inhabit the place?
Right. So what's the point of it? Yeah, I've always kind of thought like what's the point of NASA in general? I mean, like other than like I guess their one function could be like monitoring the celestials to make sure we don't have an asteroid coming to us, and if they can do something about it to redirect it, good. But like short of planetary defense, I can't imagine a real
I've said the
purpose
same
for it.
thing for years.
Like what's
And
look
as
at
far
these
as
moon rocks.
as far as monitoring them, I think NORAD could do that. But we're getting way the hell off base.
Yeah, where are we going? My goodness, we got Astros and we got freaking NASA conversation.
Only
My
Astros
God.
we need to talk about is Houston.
That's right. Who, by the way, topped the MLB power rankings that were released a day or two
Yes.
going into the season.
Now, back to this Tampa Bay thing. They wanted a stadium somewhere else, but the proposal's not going to fall through because MLB rejected a proposal to play half their home games in Montreal. Why not just go to Montreal?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
certainly.
sure the support won't be worse.
Yeah, I mean, certainly Montreal did a decent job with the Expos back in the day. I mean, Tampa's just an awful sports city. That's just all there is to it. It's just Florida in general is not a great sports state. Other than college sports. Like
Right.
professional sports are very spotty there. I mean, the Heat have a reasonable fan base.
Yeah, that all leave before the game ends.
Yeah.
Because the traffic around there is so bad.
Right.
And that's 20,000 people.
Yeah, let's do 1 million. How about
Yeah.
that?
We're going to build an arena for the Heat that
Yeah.
holds 800,000 people.
You know what? If you're gonna do that, put the first pro sports team ever in like Idaho or Montana or Wyoming or something. They got the space for it. They got nothing but space. Put it in Wyoming. Then at least there won't be the traffic.
Yeah, where do you have to go?
Yeah, right. It's all the wilderness. You got Yellowstone in your backyard. Oh my gosh.
You know, it'd be scenic.
It sure would be. And there's space for it. And the real estate should be cheap.
Yeah.
You'll definitely need that transit hub there, I'll tell you that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I would think so.
What a mess.
But no million seat stadium for me.
no.
I mean, if you want to build it, go ahead. Bless your heart.
What would
I ain't gonna be there.
What would be the outer limits? What would be the largest number of capacity you would be willing to go to in person?
110,000 at Michigan.
Yeah. Even that's crazy.
And I almost did, and I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, but that's about right. I think like these bowls, like think about that. Those college bowls, those big bowl stadiums, like Michigan and others, like they hold 100-something thousand. Multiply that by 10.
Even the old stadium in LA, the Coliseum, held a lot of people.
Yeah. Yep.
And when colleges played there, it was great. But when NFL teams played there, it's like you were sitting in a cavern.
And think about that. That's the great point. Like, what if I own this stadium and it seats 1 million, but I average 30,000? I mean, that's not good business. That's awful.
Right.
You can never say you have a sellout.
And it's a worse look for television.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's like Jacksonville having to curtain off half the
Right.
upper deck so it looks like they're full.
Right. So anyway, all right. Well, there you have it. Let's go ahead and take a break. You got your our playoff scenarios ready to go?
I do. I was working on this,
All right.
and I have a few of them up.
All right.
Ready
well,
when you are.
All right. Well, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll do that. And then we will get into some NBA later in the show. We still have the top 5. We still got news you can use. So a lot to get to. We're continuing on here on the Gary Ayd Show on the Cave.
Do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call. Because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at crazy low prices. They have access to great prices and discounts at over 500 different airlines. Plus 300,000 hotels and rental car companies. Their prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find the best price for you. Call SmartFares today and get ready to see the world with a fat wallet.
800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. That's 800-370-2460.
Come on. You watch the news. Be prepared to pay more taxes. Then, if you owe back taxes or haven't filed in a few years, get ready. The IRS, the largest collection agency in the world, will be coming after you with the power to collect taxes by any means they want to. Hey, they can freeze your bank account, your passport, even padlock your business. Oh, good times. Look, if the IRS claims you owe them $5,000 or more in back taxes and they're coming after you, don't panic. Call my friends at Get a Tax Lawyer first. Their job is to negotiate with the IRS and save you money. They're experts at it. That's all they do, and you can trust them. In some cases, they have reduced a $50,000 tax bill to less than $1,000. If you owe the IRS $5,000 or more in back taxes, call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. That's 800-649-8617.
All righty, we are back here on the Gary Ayd Show, and as best as we can with the $1 million question still looming on the whole Bengals-Bills situation, we're going to make heads or tails as best as we can on NFL playoff scenarios. Rich, I'm looking at this on CBS. Looking at
If you're going to build any scenario, you have to build it thinking the Bills and Bengals will resolve that game.
right, that they'll play it, or address it in some way.
Right.
Right.
But the AFC, I mean, the Chiefs have the best opportunity.
Yeah, well,
especially if the Bills and Bengals don't resume.
Right. Now, what would be interesting is looking at the Chiefs' scenarios for the first seed in that bye and home field. They clinch by one of a couple of methods: winning this game plus a Bills loss, or 2 Bills losses plus a Bengals loss. If the Chiefs were to lose, they're playing the Raiders on ESPN this week.
I doubt that'll happen.
I doubt that'll happen too. But if they were to lose, they could still clinch with those 2. Now, what would be interesting is what would a tie do to this? Like, let's say they decide to resolve that Bills-Bengals game as a tie. Because that's not a loss.
Then you got to go by winning percentage.
Right.
And that takes any chance the Bills have.
Because the Bills need.
The Bills need, they need the same record as the Chiefs because they hold home field.
Right.
The Bengals also need the same record of the Chiefs and the Bills loss because they beat the Chiefs.
See, if the Chiefs want to take one for the team here and just lose to the Raiders, it makes everything so much easier. Because then it doesn't matter what they do with the Bengals game.
Yeah, the NFL never let that happen.
Well, you can't throw a game. I'm not advocating that anyway.
Right.
But that was
The
really a
Bengals
joke.
need a lot of scenarios.
Yeah, Bengals probably are not getting the number 1 seed. The Bills, if they were to win their 2 games,
If the Bills win out, they're in.
they have the number 1, right?
Because the worst they could do is have the same record as the Chiefs, which give them. If they call the game a tie, you may as well just say, okay, it goes through Kansas City and goodbye.
Right.
And
well, let's move on to some of these other scenarios which are less dependent.
that'll take my little bit of interest even less. What about the AFC North? I mean, that's in play.
Yep, the North and the South are in play.
Yeah, the Bengals, they need a win somewhere.
Yep.
If they call the Bills game a tie, that means the Bengals clinch the AFC North.
Right.
If the Bengals win, it's nolo contendere. It's there.
It's there. They just need to win. So if they win week 18, at least from the standpoint of if they win their matchup in week 18 versus Baltimore, at least from the standpoint of their division, that the Bills game is irrelevant.
Right.
But looking at the AFC South, which is interesting, the Jaguars could clinch with a tie versus the Titans, win or a tie, of course. Titans
need to win.
If they win, they're in. So that's a win and in game, which is interesting. So that's like that's basically a playoff game this week.
Right.
Which is kind of cool.
So many of the wild card seeds are playoff games. Patriots need to beat the Bills. And there's a whole bunch of other scenarios. Dolphins got to lose. Steelers got to lose. Jaguars got to win.
You're looking at the 7 seed, the wild card?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is a mess. I mean, the Patriots, Dolphins, Steelers, and Jags are all in contention for that. I mean, Patriots. Yeah.
First, they got to win.
Yeah, they got to win.
And I think emotionally, I think they would be at a disadvantage going into a game with Buffalo.
Yeah, probably so.
The Dolphins don't need a lot. Just win and the Patriots lose.
Yep.
Steelers need a lot of help.
They need a lot of help.
The Jaguars could finish. If they lose to the Titans, they can be 8-9 and get in if everybody else loses.
Dolphins, Patriots, and Steelers, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so really the Dolphins have the inside track. But it's interesting here with this wild card scenario. No one completely controls their own destiny, not one team. Every team needs at least some help. Like you said, the Dolphins have the cleanest win against the Jets, which is a winnable game.
But they have to have the Patriots.
But the Patriots have to lose, which is, likely anyway, because the Bills are better. And like you said, they'll probably be emotionally charged to play that game.
I think so.
But like, what's interesting is there's not one team here that fully controls this whole destiny. Not one. That makes that even crazier. And then in the NFC, a lot cleaner. Eagles can clinch the number 1 seed with a win or a tie versus the Giants. So just straight up win. And they're in.
And they're in.
Or if they lost, they could still clinch it with a Cowboys loss and or tie against Washington, or a 49ers loss or tie versus the Cardinals. So 49ers could theoretically get that slot with a win against the Cardinals plus an Eagles loss versus the Giants, which isn't crazy. I mean, do I think the Eagles are better than the Giants? I do, but the Giants are certainly capable of beating them.
Right. Oh, yeah. Especially without their quarterback.
Right. Exactly. So that's very much in play for the Cowboys.
I mean, if Hurts doesn't go out, this isn't even a discussion.
Right. Right. Oh, exactly. Now
I think the 49ers have a real good chance.
They do, and so do the Cowboys. Look, the Cowboys just have to beat the Commanders, which they probably will.
Yeah.
Then they need the Eagles.
But they need an Eagles and a 49ers loss.
Yeah, yeah. They have the least chance because the
49ers, it's pretty clean.
They're
win and Eagles losing.
Yeah, the Niners are not losing to the Cardinals either. That's like not happening.
No.
Like that's just not going to happen. These other things could happen, but like the Eagles could lose to the Giants potentially, but there's no way the Niners are losing to the Cardinals. I'd be
No.
totally shocked at that, given what they have to play for. And then, like you said, they just need to beat this bad Cardinal team, and then they need to root for the Giants. NFC East, of course, comes down to the Eagles and Cowboys. Basically, similar scenarios to the number 1 seed. We don't have to go into those too deeply. Number 7 seed in the NFC, the wild card.
Packers are the only team that control their own destiny.
In all the wild card scenarios in both
Yeah.
leagues, they're the only one, and all they got to do is beat the Lions.
Of course, now the Lions aren't going to make that easy
That's true.
because they have to.
They need a lot. The Lions need to beat
Well,
the Packers.
technically not.
Oh.
Lions win
Yep.
and the Seahawks lose. They're in.
Well, it says here.
If the Lions lose, and then you've got to have like a whole bunch of different things happen.
Yeah.
Packers got to lose, or Packers not. There's got to be a
Court order.
tie,
Yeah.
and Seahawks have to lose versus the Rams, or tie versus, there's a million ways the Lions can get in, but the Packers have the door basically open.
Yeah, because with the Lions, to try to make sense of this, they'd have to beat the Packers, and the Seahawks would have to lose or tie to the Rams.
Yeah.
Or tie versus the Packers. So they can't lose to the Packers. So if they tied the
Right.
Packers, then they would need the Seahawks to lose to the Rams.
Or the
or
Rams and Seahawks tie.
Rams
and
and
the
Seahawks tie-
Commanders beat the Cowboys.
Right. Yeah. So
That's
basically,
like moving boulders.
Yes.
Lions got to win
yeah, they have to
for
win.
any chance at
So
anything.
for all intents and purposes, that Packers-Lions game more or less should decide the 7 seed, because barring a tie, it's basically one or the other.
Right.
Now, if the Lions were to win, they still would need a little help. They would need the Seahawks to lose to the Rams.
Or tie the Rams.
Or tie. Seahawks, meanwhile, for them, they would have to win versus the Rams, and the Packers would have to lose or tie to the Lions. So, basically. So
Green Bay's got the clear path.
all Green Bay has to do is win. That's it. They're the
Right.
only team in either conference that has a clean, just win and you're in for that last wild card. So, pretty crazy. And now looking at some of these games this week, 2 of the games that really are going to decide things are on Saturday. That Tennessee-Jacksonville game, like I mentioned, which is effectively a play-in game, that's on Saturday on ESPN. And then these other games.
Chiefs-Raiders, too.
Yep, Chiefs-Raiders. Going to go a long way to deciding things. Giants and Eagles, Cardinals and Niners, both on Sunday at the 4:00 hour. Seahawks and Rams, which also is important, 4:00 hour. Ditto for the Cowboys and Commies. And then
And we're going to pick all those on Friday.
tomorrow. Yep. And then the Detroit Green Bay game is the Sunday night game on NBC. The only 1:00 game that really has, I guess there's 2 that have some significance. 3 really. Miami.
Bengals, Ravens.
Yep. Bengals, Ravens. You have Miami and the Jets, and then
Patriots, Bills.
Patriots and Bills. Yep. Those are the 3.
And Browns, Steelers, honestly. Does the Steelers have a shot?
Maybe. But for that to matter, something else would have to happen also.
Right.
Yeah. So
Well, that's in a lot of these cases, except for the Packers.
Packers and also the Tennessee game is not dependent on anything. The winner of that basically gets in with the AFC South title. So, yeah, really, really interesting stuff coming up. And then
Somebody could win that at 8-9.
I feel like there's a division like that every year where like the winner is like 500 or like a game or so under or above.
Yeah, remember the year Seattle went 7-9, and then they won the wild card.
Yes, I do remember that. I remember being very annoyed about that actually, because like it was just so like, come on, like.
Yeah, but it happens a lot.
It does.
It used to bother me. Now I'm just whatever.
It does. It does happen a lot. And that's the flip side of the division system. I mean, if you wanted to eliminate that, the easy way to do that is just to do away with divisions and just have your top whatever teams by record.
Then that makes scheduling hell.
Well, right. Well, that's why they keep the divisions, which makes total sense. So,
right.
You
But
got
so you have to put up with one of these every couple of years.
yeah, it happens.
Now, if Jacksonville wins, they're 9-8. At least they're above 500.
And you know the thing about Jacksonville, it's
And they get the 4th seed. That's the part of it I like less
yeah, because they're gonna have a better
because they
better
win the
seeding.
division.
Because they won a division, right? Yeah, that
Yeah.
I wish they would change.
That they could change without messing with the schedule or division.
Right.
They should reseed then by ranking.
Seeding goes by record, not by
Yeah.
who won divisions. I agree with that. But you know that
and we're solving problems.
I'm
today.
telling you, man, extra coffee will do wonders. You know that game of Tennessee and Jacksonville, I'm very conflicted on because I love watching Derrick Henry, but he's not going to be playing in this game. It looks like, and I would hope he'd be ready for the playoffs should Tennessee win and get in. But
I don't think there's any playoffs for them if they.
yeah, I agree.
Well, at first, if they lose, they're 7-10.
Well, no, if they lose,
Playoffs.
if they lose, they're out. That's a play. That's a win and in,
Yeah.
lose and done game for both teams.
And I think it would be interesting to see some new blood in here.
Well, that's the thing. I can't lose here because I either get to see Derrick Henry potentially, which I'm always down to watch, or I get to see Trevor Lawrence make his playoff debut, which is cool too. So
Yeah.
this is a game that I think is you can't really lose here. But at least for me, both of those scenarios are, reasonably interesting. The Miami Jet game is funny because the Jets have been horrible lately. And Miami's not been much better. So this is like a matter of two teams kind of sputtering to the finish line here. And the game matters quite a bit.
Yeah. And I realize with all the Hamlin stuff going on and everything else, have you seen an update on Tua?
No.
I haven't either. Is he going to play? Is he okay?
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's going to determine a lot in this game. Oh, did you find the largest stadium capacity, by the way?
It was very all over the place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so not really.
I was curious.
I'm gonna
I
take
figure it had to be someplace in Europe.
Let's see. So we got we're gonna look at the I'm looking at the injury report now for us just because I'm curious. Damn, Arizona's got a million injuries. Let's see, Carolina, Chicago. Where are you? Come on.
Arizona should just come out against the Niners and take a knee on first down
Yeah,
and say,
really.
okay, we're done.
Yeah,
Let's go.
let's go home.
Wrap this up. We
Yeah.
don't want any more people hurt.
No,
They're not playing for anything
no.
except their lives. I mean, that's
Yeah, well, did not practice on Wednesday. Doubtful for Week 18 versus the Jets. That's Tua.
oh,
Yep. There we go.
well, doubtful's not out,
It's true.
which is why you see so many doubtfuls in the NBA notes
Yes.
because I can never clarify things like that. Or are they out or not?
There's so much. I mean, this time of year is so interesting to me because like everything's in motion. It's so funny though. Like there's just so many scenarios, and it just shows you the difference between being in the playoffs and not, and being a quote unquote successful team and a quote unquote failing team is so razor thin. And for all but like the top teams at this time of year, it's not really all in your control. I mean, what did we go
Yeah.
through here? Like 2 or 3 teams have their destiny in their hands.
Yeah.
Like, the Packers, the Titans and Jaguars.
Titans and Jags. That's
And
it.
that was basically it, right? Yeah. Everything else had at least some dependency on it, even for the Chiefs,
Yeah.
and of
Well,
course the Bills.
Eagles too. Win and you're the number one seed.
Yeah, so the Eagles. So that was the
or
fourth
even
game.
tie and you're
Right,
the
right,
number
right,
one
okay.
seed. No more ties.
I hate ties. They're just such a mathematical headache.
They are.
It's just like I wish there was a way to like just not have them in the NFL. Like I understand not wanting to keep playing and playing and playing, but like
Play a full quarter.
play a full
that
quarter.
would help.
I agree. And even if you want to do like what the NBA does with overtime and make the quarter overtime period a little shorter, like instead of 12 minutes, make it
Well, it's 10 minutes now.
yeah. I mean that's
I don't want it any shorter.
yeah. I forgot it is 10 minutes. You're right. Okay, yeah.
Because
Never
every
mind.
team's got to have the ball,
Right,
and
right.
it's a different
Yeah.
scenario completely. You were talking about seeing Trevor Lawrence in the playoffs
Yep.
for the first time, which would really
Hey.
be cool.
Yep.
Is there any sport where coaching matters more than the NFL?
Oh no.
Because look at Trevor Lawrence last year without a real professional coaching staff, and look at him this year.
Oh, it's night and day. There's no question about it. Coaching, I would make the argument that a truly great coach, a truly great one, is more important than any player, including the quarterback in the NFL. Like, look at the Patriots. Look, that is not a good team, but they are competitive because Belichick is a beast. He's a beast. Same with look at all those teams that Sean Payton, made relevant. And there's only a few of these guys. Mike Tomlin's another one that comes to mind. The Steelers are not a good team. Watt's been out most of the year. Their rookie quarterback. They've been out their running back for most of the year, like who was the big part of their offense. Like, and they're in playoff contention. A truly great coach, I think, is more important than any player other than a truly great quarterback. But a truly great coach versus a average quarterback, I'll take the coach. Or even a truly great coach versus like a fringe all-star. Think a great coach versus prime Matt Ryan. I would take the great coach. Because I think a great
I'm
coach.
not going to throw so many platitudes to this great coach because he also put a defensive coordinator in his.
Oh, looks like we lost Rich here. But I mean, so I think he was getting ready to say he was about oh, there we go. There you are.
I should be back.
Yeah, you're back, yes. So what were you saying? Put a defensive coordinator as what?
Looks like I'm connected.
Yeah, no, you're back. You're back. You are back.
Now I don't hear you at all.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We got hour 2 around the corner. We'll get this connection with Rich figured out. We got the top 5. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave. Alrighty, we're back here on the Gary Ayd Show. Gary Ayd, Richard Anselmo, hour 2. And before we get into the top 5 to kick off the hour, little update on DeMar Hamlin. The Buffalo Bills have announced that DeMar Hamlin has shown, quote, remarkable improvement over the past 24 hours. According to physicians at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center, his lungs continue to heal, and he is making steady progress. He appears to be, while still critically ill, DeMar has demonstrated that he appears to be, quote, neurologically intact, the team announced.
I saw that, and that's great news. He's still in critical condition.
Yep, but this is all good stuff.
And he's still not with it yet, but this is a real good start.
Yep, absolutely. Good stuff. So, there you have it. All right, well, let's go ahead and hit the top 5.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time for King Talk Radio's Top 5.
Alrighty, there we go. What do we got today, Rich?
Okay, Bleacher Report put something interesting out about the 10 worst general managers in NBA history.
Oh, man. Besides Isaiah Thomas?
Well, he's on the list. Give me your top 5.
Well, Isaiah Thomas is the easy one. You know who was a really bad general manager too was what's that guy? Scott Layden? Was it Layden with the Knicks? He was a bad GM too.
Yeah, he's on the list too.
Yeah, I didn't like him. I personally,
well, yeah, he's the guy that traded Ewing, so that doesn't.
yeah, that's never a good thing.
And they got what back? I mean, the big piece in that was Glenn Rice, who was pretty washed.
Yeah, he was pretty much the same age as you.
And he signed Allen Houston to that $100 million deal.
Oh, we should have put that on our bad contracts. I forgot about that one. That would have been a good one to put on the bad contracts list. What about? Oh, I got a good one. What about the GM in the years subsequent to the passing of Dr. Buss, Jim Buss? I mean, he was basically running the team. I mean, I know he was more of an owner, but he was basically functioning as the GM, and oh, what a disaster he was. I was so happy when Genie bought him out. Not that they've been great since then, but they've at least been relevant again. They did win that one title, and, you know, Jim Buss was a mess.
He was. See, I went with longevity, and I have Elgin Baylor on my list.
Oh, yeah, he was the GM of the Clippers for like 20-something years.
22 years.
Yeah. That's a long
he made
time.
the playoffs 3 times.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a bad one. But I wonder how much of it was him and how much was he was working for Donald Sterling.
There's a combination of that. But he made some terrible draft picks.
Yeah.
His draft was awful, and Sterling wouldn't let him spend anything.
Right.
But he wasn't good.
Yeah. Okay. So Elgin Baylor certainly makes that list.
I mean, you know, Isaiah Thomas, obviously.
Scott Layden makes that list for me.
We discussed him. Oh, yeah. And then remember in 2002 when he traded Camby? And a first-round pick to Denver for Antonio McDyess, who was never right.
Yeah, his knees were all shot. Yep.
Yeah,
I do
and
remember
Denver used that pick and took Nene.
Nene Hilaria, who had a very long career.
Yeah.
Played about 20 years, 17, 18 years, something like that. Let's see, who else? I'm trying to think of some other teams. You know, Hinkie comes to mind. Sam Hinkie for me, because I mean, in my opinion, and I understand that the argument's going to be, well, look what they were able to get out of it, you know, with Embiid and whatnot. I get that, but like, in my opinion, it takes no skill as an executive to just tank and hope that you get the number 1 pick and hope it works out. Like that there's no skill involved in that. A 5-year-old can do that. So like, if you're talking about from an aptitude or acumen standpoint, that to me qualifies as awful, because like that takes no ability. Like, okay, just lose as many games as we possibly can, do nothing to make the team good. In fact, do things to make it bad, and then, quote, trust the process. Like, you know, like, no, So I put Sam Hinkie on my list for that reason.
I get that.
Um,
We still trusting that process or what?
well, I mean, at
I
least
haven't seen it turn into a championship.
no, I
That's-
mean, at least Embiid worked out. But like, yeah, all those other guys. Think of all the guys that didn't: Markel Fultz, Nerlens Noel, Ben
Yeah.
Simmons. I mean, it's a much longer list. The only one that did work out is Embiid.
right.
But I yeah, so I put Sam Hinkie on there. You know, I don't know. I think there's and I know he's viewed kind of on the opposite end of this spectrum, generally speaking. But Presti is a guy that I don't have a whole lot of love for. Like, again, I know that he had the trio, but the draft is luck, at a certain point. Like, I mean, just are you gonna get a draft with Anthony Bennett or are you gonna get a draft with Kevin Durant? Like, that's luck. But to me, tearing down a team for 1 million draft picks and then really not doing anything, I don't know. Like, I don't think he can make my 5 worst based on aptitude. I think he's better than that. But like, if I was a fan of that team, his approach would bother me. That's the other perspective I'm thinking about with this is like, if I was a fan of the team, would I like the approach this GM is taking? And then of the guys whose approach I wouldn't like, how high up the list of dislike are they from the perspective of if I was a fan of that team? And if I was a fan of the Thunder, I would just think, well, we're never going to be good again. We got lucky one time in 2 drafts, basically, and that's the end of the line for us.
And your best player you traded for.
Yep.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Right. Yep. So
I've got a name I put on my personal list. I don't know where he and I
Okay.
haven't even gotten to Billy King yet.
Oh, Billy King is a good one.
Jim Paxson,
Mm.
the GM of the Cavs. He took LeBron James in the draft. That didn't take genius.
No, that was pretty obvious. Yes.
He was there for 6 years, and he drafted like Trajan Langdon,
Oops.
DeJuan Wagner,
Oh.
Luke Jackson. First round picks.
DeJuan Wagner unfortunately got that illness that ended his career before it really got going. Luke
Yeah.
Jackson was a disaster.
So was Langdon. He
So
couldn't
was
play.
Langdon. Yep.
He also drafted Jamal Crawford and traded him for Chris Mim.
Oopsies.
Then he traded Andre Miller for Darius Miles.
Oops.
And he traded a first-round draft pick. Remember the European guard who never really did a lot, Yuri Welsh?
Yuri Welsh. I do remember him. He was a point
Yeah.
guard.
Yeah, traded a first for him. And he was responsible for the Cavs losing Carlos Boozer for nothing. So he is definitely on my list.
Wow.
Along with Billy King, he futzed up the Sixers and the Nets.
Yeah, Billy King was a mess. I mean, that trade he made with Brooklyn is like legendary. I mean, they're legendary with the Celtics.
And then, I mean, in Philly, too, he was,
the GM.
I mean, he gave Kenny Thomas a $50 million contract.
I'd have to look it up, but because I don't remember the guy's name, but the general manager of the Celtics in the years directly after Larry Bird, when Bird was like working for the team in the front office, he was fairly not effective too. And I don't remember his name. But he drove Bird away. He drove Dave Gavitt away.
Yeah.
And
I don't remember his name either, but he was awful.
And he was pretty bad. And I don't remember. I'd have to look that up. But he was pretty bad. And they had some awful teams in those like early 90s to mid 90s, pretty much before they got Paul Pierce and whatever that was, the 97 draft.
Yeah.
97 or 90. I think it was 98, actually. Yeah, 97 was the Duncan draft. Yeah, so 98 draft.
What's your take on Kevin McHale? I mean, yeah, he drafted Kevin Garnett. Great pick.
Yeah, that wasn't an easy pick because he was out of high school. It was middle of the
And then he
first round.
signed him to this contract, which made him unable to sign anyone else. At the time, that $126 million contract was a big piece of the salary cap.
Yeah, McHale wasn't a great general manager.
Then he made that under-the-table deal with Joe Smith, and it cost them to lose 3 first-round picks.
Joe Smith.
He drafted Ray Allen, traded him for Stephon Marbury. In 2006, he drafted Brandon Roy and traded him for Randy Foy.
Wow. Oops.
And then, of course, he traded Garnett to the Celtics for that awful deal. That basically some of the guys you got back, Ryan Gomes, Theo Ratliff, Gerald Green, Sebastian Telfair, and the 2 draft picks turned into Johnny Flynn and Wayne Ellington.
Oh, man.
So they basically just said, oh, here, take it.
Yes. Johnny Flynn barely made a couple of years in the NBA.
Yeah.
Wayne Ellington has had a journeyman career.
No first-round pick.
No.
Worth.
Nope.
There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah, it can be a long list.
But yeah, Layden, Thomas, Baylor are easy.
Yeah, I'm gonna put Hinkie in there too for me. Those 4 for sure. And I think I think McHale's a good example because I mean he was also in Minnesota for 100 years and really accomplished nothing.
Did nothing, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that might be my list. So let's put these in order. Number 1 for me is Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
Number 2, I think for me is going to be Sam Hinkie. Number 3, I'll go Elgin Baylor. Number 4, I'm going to go McHale. And number 5 will be Layden. Layden wasn't there long enough
to be ranked higher. Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to leave Billy King out of this, though. He was a mess. You know, maybe I'll put Billy King in place of McHale because McHale at least has the saving grace of drafting Garnett in a place where, you know, that took some forethought and conviction at the time and place he was drafted.
But then being unable to put anything around him and then dumping him for nothing.
Oh, it's the only good thing he did.
Kind of erases a lot of that.
But what's the good that Billy King ever did?
Oh, geez, nothing.
Right, so
nothing. He screwed up 2 franchises.
Yeah, so I'm going to put Billy King in place of McHale. So my list is going to be number 1, Isaiah Thomas, number 2, Sam Hinkie, number 3, Elgin Baylor, number 4, Billy King, and number 5, Scott Layden.
I like that list.
Yes, it's a good list. It's a good bad list.
It really is.
It's a good bad list. Those are our 5 worst general managers in NBA history.
Works for me.
There we go. All right. Well, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll get into today's NBA. A lot of games yesterday, a couple of buzzer beaters. Not a ton of games on the docket today, but we'll be lacking quantity. We're making up for it in some quality. There's some good ones on the docket for today. We'll get into those as well. And we have some NHL and news you can use still to come. Also, it's the Gary Ayd Show back after this here on The Cave.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. That's 800-741-9557. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. That's 800-826-5884.
All right, so taking a look at the NBA right now, game tonight that I can't wait to watch, Rich. Boston and Denver could be a finals preview potentially. This is a great game.
Boston, Dallas.
Dallas, I'm sorry. Yeah, I said Denver. I meant Dallas.
Yeah, the Celtics are free falling.
They are.
I mean, they got blitzed by Oklahoma City.
I know.
Gave up 150.
They're in a mess right now. I don't know what's going on with them, but
I don't either.
They're not looking good. Yeah.
And this is going to be something they need to take care of on the road. I mean, Dallas has been up and down.
Yeah, they've been playing better of late. They're on they're on a 7-game winning streak right now, Dallas. So
right.
So they're that's actually the longest winning streak in the NBA because, as I correctly predicted yesterday, somehow, some way, I didn't have a reason for it, but I was like, I think the Bulls are going to end the net streak, and sure enough, they did. I should have bet that.
I know you would have won.
There was no reason for me to think that last night, but it was one of those gut feelings.
And there were so many great games last night too. The Bucks-Raptors game was one for the ages. The way the Pistons won their game.
Oh, that was incredible. Bay hit that last second shot, that buzzer beater shot. After Thompson had just tied it before that.
And Giannis had a triple-double and went nuts, and they got the overtime win. He was a 30-21 in 10.
What do you make of Milwaukee this year?
They need Middleton back, period.
Yeah, they do.
No excuses. No anything else. They need him back.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, because Giannis is able to carry them to wins, but like that's not going to work in the playoffs.
Right.
At least not later in the playoffs. They might get through like a first round matchup with like an Indiana or someone like that.
Right.
But like they're not going to beat like a Boston or a Philly or someone like that without Middleton or a Brooklyn.
And he came back for a game or two, Middleton. Did they rush him back too early?
I don't know. I don't even know if it was the same injury, to be honest with you.
I mean, do you really need him at the beginning of December? If they wouldn't have, would he have been able to play in now?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if it was the same injury that put him back on the shelf. I'd have to look into that, to be honest with you. I don't know that off the top of my head, but I agree with you, though. They need him back in a bad way.
They do.
They really do.
Cavs and Suns was a great game last night. And the Cavs won it on a shot by Donovan Mitchell.
Mitchell has been balling out.
Yes, he has.
My goodness.
And he was shooting terribly before that, but there was no doubt who was going to take that last shot.
Oh, no.
Philly needed overtime without Embiid, but still beat the Pacers. And Brunson went off.
How about my Lakers with a big win? No AD, no LeBron, no Lonnie Walker, and they still find a way to win. How about that?
And they beat Miami.
Yes, how about that? They got 112 points with The other guys.
Nobody,
Yeah,
basically.
Thomas Bryant, I think, had 21 in this game. I know Westbrook had 20-something off the bench, maybe also 21.
Yeah, he did.
Amazing stuff. Miami's a brutal team to watch. They might be the most boring team in the NBA to watch. They are just not interesting.
They're not at all. And they make the Clippers look interesting.
Ugh. The Clippers are a funny team. You look at their splits, not their splits, their plus minus point differential. They have a record of 21-18. They score 109.5 points per game, and they give up 109.4. So they give you agita every single game.
Yeah, they do. Oh, believe me, I know. You don't have to tell me.
Oh,
that.
I know. They give you agita every single game.
Every single game.
0.110.
They win games you're surprised they win.
My goodness.
They lose games they have no business losing.
That's a funny group of guys, man. That's a crazy team to watch. Let's see a couple other games. So tonight, getting into tonight's games.
Speaking of the Clippers,
yeah,
they're at Denver.
Yep, that's the other good game
Nuggets are
tonight.
playing quite well.
Yeah, they are.
This is a game the Clippers will compete in. Though,
Yep, probably so.
because that's just what they do.
That's what they do.
And they'll lose to Orlando.
Yeah, because that makes sense.
Does anything make sense in the NBA this year?
No, nothing
Does
at
it
all.
make sense that San Antonio and Orlando each have like 13, 14 wins? Oklahoma City's got 15.
Yep.
None of this makes sense.
Nothing makes sense. The Jazz, meanwhile, started out the season like 12 wins in a row or something like that. And
They
now
are free
they're
falling.
free falling. Since that start, they've only won about 7 games. They're 19-21 right now. They do put up points, but
they do.
But they give them all back.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, if you look at volume players in the NBA,
Yep.
people that, take a certain amount of shots
Yep.
per, and have a certain amount of possessions per game, Lauri Markkanen's leading the league.
Isn't that something?
And he's pretty efficient at it. Like some volume shooters aren't efficient. He is.
This would be an interesting game. This is going to be a game that if I was a Jazz fan, I would be looking at closely because, look, this is a team you're supposed to beat in Houston. The Jazz are not really that good, but Houston is one of the 5 or so worst teams in the whole league. This is an awful team, Houston. So, they're 29th in offense and they're like bottom 3rd in team defense. So, really should beat them.
Absolutely. And this is one of those get better games.
Yes.
They need to get better against this team.
Yes.
If they want to stay in this, they do.
Yep. And then the last game tonight is Memphis at Orlando.
Jeez.
Yeah, not exactly a must-watch game, but anytime I can get a glimpse of John Morant, though, it might be worth it for a couple minutes.
I absolutely agree with that. And the fact you see Banchero in this game, too.
Yeah, that helps also.
Is a plus.
Yes.
My concern with Memphis, they have 13 losses and they shouldn't. This team's got to make free throws.
Yeah, that's a good
It took
point.
them this long to get over 70%.
Not good.
They are the worst free throw shooting team in the league, and in the playoffs, that will cost you.
Oh, it will. Well, you know who else is bad at free throws comparatively? They're a little better than Memphis, but Denver, which is shocking because they shoot like 50% from the field and like 40% from 3 as a team.
Yeah, I think they're shooting 51 and 40.
Yeah, but they shoot like 73 or something percent from the free throw line as a group. That doesn't even make sense. That makes no sense.
I get it with Memphis.
Yeah, right. They're not a shooting
Steven
team.
Adams can't make a free throw to save his life.
Right. They're not a shooting team.
Right. But yeah, Denver confounds me with that.
There's always been those individuals in the NBA too. I remember Bruce Bowen was this way. His shooting percentage on threes was like 40-ish%, but his free throw shooting was like barely above 50.
Yeah.
Like, how is that possible?
You wonder if it's. I get why some centers have an issue with hand size and everything, and having to put touch on a ball, which is why Wilt had a problem and Shaq had a problem, and
But with that hand argument, wouldn't Kawhi Leonard then not be a good free throw shooter? Because he's got hands bigger than those guys.
he does. But you're also looking at a hand strength combination that
Okay.
really does affect that, and it's also an issue with Steven Adams as well.
Yeah.
Andre Drummond,
So there's something to be said for being too strong.
DeAndre Jordan, guys with that kind of build have trouble from the line.
Yes, they do.
But yeah, there is no excuse for a team shooting 71% from the line. I mean, I don't think Adams takes that much of a percentage of their free throws.
No, he doesn't.
To bring them down that much.
No. That's very true.
But interesting. There's a lot of things you have to look at. How bad does this hurt New Orleans with Williamson out? Multiple weeks, they're saying. And with a hamstring, it has to be.
Yep. It's tough, man. I mean, that's a tough one. I mean,
he's worth the price of admission when he plays.
Oh God, he is. But he's a tough one. I mean, like if I was Nick, you talk about a tough choice. Because you're gonna have to pay him max player money, obviously. But oh man, that's a lot of risk to take on a guy with his injury history. Oof, that would concern me like a lot. I think Brandon Ingram might be the most important player on any contending team in the NBA from just the standpoint that I'm gonna have to lock up Williamson if I'm keeping him at a price that I'm really not comfortable with because of his injuries. Hopefully I can keep Ingram then too, because at least when Williamson is down, if I can get Ingram to go off, I can steer the ship, so to speak. But oof, man,
if you lose Ingram to keep Williamson, that could backfire.
Oh, big time. That's a big one. Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying he's like the most important player on a contending team in some respects. In that regard. Oh man. These are the decisions that make me happy I'm not an NBA executive, because that would keep me up all night, every night.
Well, you know how I felt about giving the money to DeAndre Ayton.
Yep.
You have to.
Yep.
But is it going to help you? No.
The problem is it hurts you a lot if you lose them, because
right, it could hurt you with him.
Right.
Especially for some reason, his attitude is just, beyond going south.
Maybe him and Jay Crawford or Jay Crowder are buddies. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Who knows? But
that could be the worst of it.
Yeah. And that is the funniest, weirdest story of the NBA season to me, is the whole Crowder thing. Like the fact that this guy is holding out like this is just talk about tone deaf. Oh my goodness. And then the team wanting to get a king's ransom. It's like, dude, the guy is a role player who's in his mid-30s.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. Just deal him and get it over with.
Absolutely. No question about it.
Get a bench piece, get a late first, and be happy with it.
Move on.
If you get a late first, you should be thrilled. I would be.
Oh, absolutely. No question about it. Well, there we go. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. Let's get into some we got news you can use still to come. We got some NHL, little bit of information in the sports business world, which we can get into. So a couple of different things to get into. We'll be back after this. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Now don't wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Here's the number: 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens and you need money. What do? You call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, get your car repaired, or whatever you need? It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to lend you the money. And we'll lend people money with good, bad, or no credit at all. Of course, some terms and conditions apply, and you'll see those on the link we're going to send you. So if you need up to $5,000 maybe as soon as the next business day, call this number right now. We will text you a free link with details.
Paid for by Money Mutual. Call 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. That's 800-586-7112.
Alrighty, so this is something I've been on sort of the skeptic train on for a long time, really from the beginning of its existence. The crypto market, well, let's just say it's not looking so hot. And the latest domino to fall there is Fanatics plans to divest its 60% stake in Candy Digital, which is an NFT company with which it created virtual trading cards. This is according to CNBC. It will sell to an investor group, including the original founding shareholders. It said in the statement, over the past year, it has become clear that NFTs are unlikely to be sustainable or profitable as a standalone business, according to Fanatics founder Michael Rubin. Well, yeah, no kidding. Like, what would the I never understood NFTs anyway. Only about 18 months old, Candy Digital came onto the NFT scene strong. And now it's looking like it's going downhill fast. Look, the problem with all this stuff is it's not real, and it's like, make believe. So like, it's just people are getting wise to it, I guess you could say. And esports have been reclassified as sports now in India by the government, and that opens up a new revenue and investment opportunity for teams and leagues in that country, which, by the way, is set to surpass China as the most populous country in the world coming up soon.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
The crypto thing, you've been on all the way, and I
Yep.
give you major props for that. You were and are absolutely right. Esports
Esports is interesting.
it's getting big here. I mean, there's a beautiful, or fairly new, it was new the last time I was there, building in Vegas that'll hold 4,500 to 5,000 people. And the fact that 4,000 plus people will go and watch esports,
Incredible. Well,
it amazes me.
Well, what's interesting? I've been thinking about this, and it's going to sound funny to say out loud, but I would be surprised if it didn't happen at some point, probably sooner than later. At some point, esports is going to become an Olympic activity, an Olympic event, I think.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, look, it's very popular. It takes immense skill. I don't know that I call it a sport.
Put a lot of time in.
Oh, it's insane. I mean, I don't know that I call it a sport any more than I ever called poker a sport, but it certainly takes a great talent. And like you just were mentioning, Rich, it's very popular. People like it. A lot of people like it.
And yeah, the fact that last time I was in Vegas, that building was almost full.
Yep. Well, they have franchises all around the country now, these like esports centers that allow you to basically run, video game tournaments essentially. It's pretty interesting. Really
I
is.
played a game of Madden in one for fun, and
Oh,
I
that's
got
interesting.
drilled
Yeah, of
because
course.
this kid plays 85 hours a week.
Right.
I play 2. So, you
Yeah,
know,
right,
it's,
exactly. Yeah,
but it was just fun to do it.
right. Yeah, it's cool. So there you go.
Plus, I suck at Madden.
Oh, Madden's a brutally hard video game.
It really is.
It's one of those games that's just like it takes the fun out of it to a large extent because it's so stressful and it's so much work. Like, man, I just want to bash some buttons. I don't want to think. What do you mean? Audibles? No. Like, ugh.
Oh, that's the problem. Whatever defense I threw up, this kid was audibling into 2 different plays. And I'm like, I know I'm going to get killed. I'm just here to have fun.
Yeah, right. Unbelievable. What else we got going on? What is going on in the NHL? Let's take a look at the
Very
hockey.
light night yesterday.
Yep.
It was a TNT night. So you only had one game. That one game was fun. Captain Nico Hischier celebrated his 24th birthday. Young phenom Jack Hughes were among 4 New Jersey Devils players with a goal and an assist. Devils went into Detroit and stomped, beat on, attacked, and hurt the feelings of the Detroit Red Wings. 5-1. The only thing of interest in the last part of this game was, will Vitek Vanacek get his shutout? And the Red Wings got a meaningful power play goal with about just under 2 minutes left. There was controversy in the U.S. World Junior Champions or the World Junior Championships. Canada beat the U.S. 6-2 in the semifinal. They play in the final today against Czechia. U.S. has a bronze medal game against Sweden. The U.S. had 2 goals disallowed.
Ugh.
I didn't like the first call. I thought it was ticky-tack to do to these kids. The second one, there's an IIHF rule. It's in the rule book. You cannot push the goalie into the net when he has the puck underneath him. That's not a goal in anybody's world. So come on, U.S. fans, be better. Stop complaining.
Come on, man.
Canada was the better team.
Come on, man.
Period. Canada played better. This kid Connor Bedard proved again, like with every game, he proves even more. He's the number 1 draft pick in the NHL this year, and he's a transcending player. 3 games involving locals tonight. The Rangers are in Montreal to take on Les Habitants du Canadien, which is always a fun place to go. New Jersey hosts the St. Louis Blues, back-to-back for them, but they're actually a better team on the road than at home, and that's interesting. And the Islanders are continuing their West Coast swing with a game in Edmonton.
Ooh.
And there you have it.
There you go. A little bit of interesting information, too. I just saw during the last break on the interwebs, as they say.
Yes.
Luka Doncic saying there's no way he'll be chasing LeBron's records because he, quote, won't be playing that much. He said, you got to play for 20 plus years at that level. And he said, I'm not playing that long.
I give him credit for realizing what it would take.
Yeah, well, he said it's possible, but he says, if you're talking about me, it's not happening because I'm not playing that much. I mean, and that's what we were talking about a couple days ago when we brought this up. That's the reason I'm bringing it up now, is because we talked about this at length. Like, it's one thing to be on a similar or faster pace in your prime.
Right. Let's see where you are 5 years from now.
Or 15 years from now.
Well, 15 years, he won't be in the league.
Well, that's the thing. That's what it takes. You got to be basically where you were in year 5, in year 19 and 20 to do these type of things. That's why it's so hard.
I don't even know why people speculate this. Because if it was something that could just happen, it would have happened a few times.
I mean, Kareem held this scoring record for 40-ish years, almost 40 years. What year did he break that record? 87? So almost 40 years, 35 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And Kareem wasn't playing at that level at the end of his career.
No, his last 2 or 3 years, he wasn't that good anymore.
And you're not going to see. I mean, I won't see this again. You may.
Right.
I won't.
Right.
I mean, it's not something that just happens every couple of decades.
No.
It's not. This is a phenomenon. And I get Luka Doncic saying it. I think it's his way of saying, let's stop with this because it ain't happening.
Right.
And the only question I have about the end of Luka Doncic's career is I'm hoping he doesn't end up looking like Eric Snow before he gets into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man.
I had to do it. I can't help it.
Oh, that's great. For those of you who haven't, Google a picture of Eric Snow recent. He's going to look like he ate Eric Snow. That's how you know you'll be on the right picture. Eric Snow looks like he ate Eric Snow. By the way, it was 1984 that Kareem became the all-time scoring leader. So, just
by
under
88,
40.
he was like done.
Yeah, he retired after the 88-89 season. So, it was just under 40 years, 39 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a long time to hold a record.
It's amazing.
Yep.
And there was never really a serious challenger to it.
No, I mean, Karl Malone was pretty close. He had an outside shot, but he chose to chase a ring with the Lakers instead.
He wasn't playing at that level anyway in those years. I mean, if he'd have played 40 minutes a night in Utah.
His second to last year, his last year in Utah, he averaged over 20, which was year 18. And I think he retired like just under 2,000 points shy. So,
yeah,
if he had made it a point, he probably could have gotten there, but it wasn't his priority. But,
and I don't blame him.
But that's the closest anyone's come. I mean, no one else has come anywhere close.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan didn't have a shot of anyone. I thought Kobe had a shot, but some injuries later in his career really
hit him in. Yeah,
he lost a couple of years combined with a couple different injuries.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That hurt him, and I would have loved to have seen Kobe make a run at it too.
I mean, Durant might make a run depending how he ages over these next few years because he's still playing at an elite level.
I think he'll age pretty well because he's not overly muscular.
Right.
And he's not going to get big and slow.
Right.
I know he's had some injury concerns in his career too, and I don't know how long he'll play. But he's playing the way he is now. Stick around 5 more years.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the problem for him is, well, LeBron, will you please go away? God, I'm not making up any ground on you while you're still here.
I mean, well, does anyone think in their right mind think that LeBron's done after this year?
How could you? I mean, the way he's playing, why would it be done?
Be done when you're still on this level?
Right. I mean,
and the fact he wants to play with his son.
He's going to play a couple more years, you think? 2 or 3 more years?
I think he pulls a Tom Brady and plays with both of his kids.
Wouldn't that be something?
Even if he's coming off the bench at 45, I think you could still get 20 minutes a night out of him and he can play with his kids.
Probably. Because his younger son, Bryce, looks to be the better of the 2 prospects.
He is.
Yeah, he's got a nice build to him for whatever he is, 15-year-old kid, 14-year-old kid.
Well, Brownie's not going to be a bust. I mean,
Yeah, he'll be okay.
Yeah. He's a smart kid and a smart player.
Yep.
And he'll have a job somewhere.
Yeah, I think he's going to be
I want to see him play with his kids. I really do.
Oh, absolutely. You know how historically unprecedented it is? As far as I know, that's happened exactly one time in sports history. That was the Griffeys. That's the only one I'm aware of in any sport where father and son played together.
Gordie Howe and his kids.
Oh, they played together?
Yeah.
Now, was that Gordie Howe actually everyday active NHL player? Because I know he had a bunch of kind of cameo and publicity stunt things later in life.
He did later in life, but him at 50 was a regular player for the Hartford Whalers.
Okay.
And so were his kids.
Okay.
And a lot of times it was him going to other cities so people could meet Gordie Howe.
Right.
Which is, but no, he played into his, like you said, making the occasional appearance into his late 50s.
Right.
And that's staggering.
When was he last an actual regular real player? Was he a regular real guy when he was playing with his kids?
With his kids, yeah, until probably the age of 51. He didn't play as many minutes, but he played every night.
Yeah, he was on the regular team. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to figure out. All
Which
right.
is another great accomplishment.
Yeah, that sure is. I mean, geez, Jaromir Jagr was barking up that tree for a while.
Jaromir Jagr, he owns the team now.
Yes, in the Czech Republic, right?
Yeah, and had to play because so many players were injured, and he went out there and played like 15 minutes and played great. Got a few assists. And he's telling the Hall, because the Hall of Fame said, your ceremony and this. He's like, I'm not done yet. Don't.
Right.
He may just keep playing.
He's got to be like, come on, kids. I'm 50 years old. What do you got me playing for? Come on now.
I think he just loves it.
Oh, man.
Oh, I got to play. All right.
All right. Yes.
It's not like I got to play. Damn.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
I got to play. This will be fun.
Yes. Yeah, right. Oh, that's so
I'll
funny.
teach these kids a few things. And he does.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's good.
Always interesting when the owner of the team has to suit up.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Dolan doing that?
No.
Oh, man, what a disaster that would be.
That would be horrible. Or any owner, really, for that matter.
Yeah.
I mean, how many owners?
Well, Mario Lemieux probably could have done it.
That bit, yeah. Yep.
He doesn't own him anymore.
I suppose Jordan could have pulled it off at one point.
Yeah.
I guess he would be another one.
He hated the whole Hall of Fame thing because of that. He goes, this means I can't play. Some people, it just gets in their blood and it's there.
Yeah, you just can't. Like that was one of the great tragedies of Kobe's untimely passing, is for a guy who was that obsessive about being a basketball player. He had seemed to so smoothly transition to the next stage of his life and was so involved in life and so high on life.
Yeah.
It just seemed so much more tragic because he got someone with that much gust for life was snuffed out like in an instant. Very sad.
I know with Kobe teaching her, his daughter was going to be a WNBA player.
Oh, yes.
Period. She was.
Oh, yeah.
She just was.
Yes.
WNBA players at that time were saying, oh, yeah, we've played with her. She can play.
Yep.
She's far too young to come into this, but she can play.
Right.
And he did more for the women's league than most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was something he was interested in.
Yeah.
He was really into like movies and productions and stuff like that too.
Yeah, and he did some really good work.
Yep.
That was just a tragic life taken too soon.
One of the worst things I've ever had to observe and witness in my life. That was brutal to me. Just brutal. All right, let's take one more break. We'll come back. We'll wrap it up with some news you can use. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Now don't wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Here's the number: 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens and you need money. What do? You call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, get your car repaired, or whatever you need? It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to lend you the money. And we'll lend people money with good, bad, or no credit at all. Of course, some terms and conditions apply, and you'll see those on the link we're going to send you. So if you need up to $5,000 maybe as soon as the next business day, call this number right now. We will text you a free link with details.
Paid for by Money Mutual. Call 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. That's 800-586-7112.
All right, we're back, and let's do some news you can use.
Okay, the NFL released its 15-player list for the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yes.
I'm not going to go through them all right now. We're going to save that for tomorrow, and I have an interesting top 5 for you.
All right.
And I'll let you know that one for free.
Hey.
One thing I can't wait to see, though, and I think it's going to happen, is Darrelle Revis's speech. To me, Revis Island is like the lock.
Yeah, him and Joe Thomas are the two
Yeah,
guys in this draft that should headline things.
right. And I think it's going to be interesting.
What do you make of Torrey Holt's candidacy? I know he's made a couple of final lists at this point.
He's been on that list a lot. I feel he's going to go the way of Steve Tasker, who was no longer eligible for that list, and I hope the Veterans Committee puts him in. And I think the same thing will happen to Torrey Holt. He's been there a while.
Yeah, see, to me, he comes up just short.
Same here.
I felt the same with Tasker. I feel like both of those guys were really good players, great players. But there has to be a line somewhere between Hall of Fame and just missing the cut. And it's unfortunate for the guys that fall on that line. But I always thought Chris Webber was sort of in that group. He eventually did get in. A lot of these guys who are right on that line eventually do. But I have no problem with Torrey Holt just missing the cut. I think he was a phenomenal player, but maybe just not quite there. And the NFL is very judicious with the receivers it puts in. They're not.
They are.
I mean, they even gave Chris Carter a hard time, who at the time of his retirement was like second to Jerry Rice in basically everything.
Right. I think Tasker revolutionized special teams play. I think at some point he'll be in.
Yeah, that's his argument, is he kind of created a new way of doing things for a phase of the game that didn't exist before.
And it wasn't like Devin Hester's on the list. He's a great kick returner. But if Tasker's not in, Hester shouldn't be. Because Tasker, blocked kicks. He played on every facet of special teams.
Yeah, I guess Devin Hester was the most interesting name on this list to me, because if you value special teams as it used to be, specifically return, not even special teams, return specifically, if you value that the way it used to be, Devin Hester's the best ever at that aspect of the game.
He is.
As a kick returner, punt returner, there's never been a better one in the NFL than Devin Hester. So,
and I'm not saying he doesn't belong, but if he does, so does Tasker.
Well, there are different parts of special teams.
Right.
Yeah, very different.
Each are as important as the other. But interesting. We're going to go through this in greater detail tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yep. Okay.
We're up against it here. A couple quick things. Sam Howell's going to get his first career NFL start against the Cowboys for Washington on the weekend.
Oh, they're done with Carson Wentz already? That didn't take long.
Yeah. And Justin Fields is out for the Bears.
Ugh, well,
with a hip injury.
All right.
Those kind of injuries concern me. And if I think there's any part of that game that could have been an upset, well, that's gone.
Yep. Yeah, that's rough. I mean, it's a shame that that Fields season ended the way it did, because he was showing some promise. Now he was still so reliant on his legs, but I'll tell you what, for the first time in God knows how long, the Bears were at least like relevant, at least to the extent that he was relevant. Like I was enjoying watching him kind of play and take that next step. So it's a shame his season ended the way it did.
It is.
All right, we got time for maybe one more.
Oh, I I don't think I have. Yeah, I do. Hang on. Let me get over here to it. Someone just gave me a strong dislike here.
Uh-oh. What do they dislike?
Texas A&M is hiring Bobby Petrino to be their offensive coordinator.
Yes.
I didn't think Bobby was still coaching. That's good.
I didn't know that either. Yeah. I remember he was the Falcons coach for 5 minutes. Not Louisville.
Yeah.
What is it? Louisiana. LSU.
His last job was at UNLV.
Yep.
Oh, no, somebody hated me on social because I made the comment that the first call against the U.S. was pretty pathetic, but the second one was by the rules, and it didn't matter. Canada was the better team anyway, and someone kind of gave me an attitude like, you're a U.S. citizen. I'm not going to flag wave. I'm going to tell the truth. My truth.
Yep. There we go.
Better team won.
There we go. Well,
and that's how it is. It's not anything against any country.
All righty. Well, there we have it. That does it for us. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, enjoy all of the games. 4 games in the NBA tonight. No Thursday Night Football. Tomorrow we'll do our full picks, and we'll get into the NFL Hall of Fame, as Rich alluded to as well. A lot to get to. We'll see you then. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.